CarPlay unit replace a Garmin or any other dedicated GPS unit? That's the question we're going to ask today. A Garmin is pretty much plug and play. You're going to get offline maps automatically. You're going to be able to search anything and plan routes without data. But up in the mountains, can a CarPlay unit replace a Garmin using apps that specialize in offline maps? That's the question we're going to answer today. So stick with me. Let's go through this. Now understand, I'm only going to be talking from my actual experience and what I actually saw. This is going to be a two-part video because I'm going to talk about the unit itself, and then I'm going to do a second video talking about the different offline maps, the pros and cons, which one actually will replace a Garmin. So this is a two-video series. So the first thing I'm going to ask, why I selected this particular unit, the CarPlay 502. Well, I picked it because I didn't want this massive screen on my bike. I wanted something a bit more conservative. I needed to be able to read the GPS. I needed to have offline maps. And I needed to be able to search for routes while offline. So that's where the second video is going to come into play. But I chose the CarPlay simply because the reviews were better. It has an actual name imprinted on it. I have learned that if a company feels comfortable enough to put their name on the product itself, they at least have some type of confidence that it's going to do the job. Now, is that an old world way of thinking? Does that really apply anymore? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. But a CarPlay unit is a CarPlay unit. The thing about it is, how easy is it to install? Can you see it in direct sunlight? I do live at higher altitudes, so generally light is a bit more intense here than say at sea level. Will it be intermittent? Will it disconnect from my phone? That's the question we're going to ask. Now in this review, I did not just go in, install it, and then take it out for a short ride and giving you a review. No, I rode 350 miles with this unit and used the GPS several times. So I'm not coming from the first day I used it. If any of you have seen my last scenic ride video, the Rocky Mountain National Park, that's when it was primarily used. You'll see some of that footage in this video. Why did I choose this over a Garmin? Well, I don't have the money for a $500–600 Garmin. That's just way expensive, and those screens are huge, and I don't really wanted anything that big. And I found out that there were things called offline maps. I said, if I could find a good offline map program and get it to work on a CarPlay unit, then it very well could be a quick patch for now until I can actually afford something like a Garmin. So the first thing we got to do is we got to answer this question. Was it easy to install? So I've already got my bike prepped for the install. I have defined where the accessory port is, and it's in the headlight bucket, and I've already got it detached. I've already put the proper connectors on this, and we're going to see how it works and see if it powers on. So before I even get to putting this on the bike, let's actually make sure this thing even powers on and that this system actually works. Make sure I'm putting the right terminals in the right spot. I've got it all plugged in. Now, let's see if this unit powers on when I pull the trigger or turn the. Ooh, it turned on. Let's see if it turns off. Should. And it turned right off. Got to keep these things. My Gaia girl absolutely loves these things. And no, she doesn't chew them. She doesn't swallow them or anything like that. She just plays with them and she just likes them. So as long as she doesn't hurt herself, I don't care. So here's the unit itself. and get this installed. Should just go in here. All right, cool. Let me run the cables now. Plug it in, and it'll be done. So now I plug these guys in. I've already put the connectors on. So we already know. Red is always hot. Black is neutral. Unless you're dealing with house electrics, and it's a little different. Black is hot, white is neutral. So on electronics, good chance anything colored is going to be hotter. Check the specs first. So on this terminal, this port, this USB port, this accessory port that's in my headlight bucket has a orange wire and a black wire. The orange wire has green on it, black has white stripe. So what this usually means for my bike, orange means it's switched on power, which is what we want, and black is neutral. Let's make sure this is going to work first. Let's make sure the unit turns on, and before I finish her off. Oh, it turned on. Then all I have to do is clean this up. So all this extra cable is going to store inside of this headlight right here. Use a tie wrap. Make sure it's nice and clean, so it's nice and tight. Holds it in nice. Cut off the extra. That's gone. There it is. The extra wire that I can just unplug it if I want to. It goes down into the back of the headlight bucket and goes inside the headlight bucket. There is no additional need for running cables anywhere else. So it's up and running now, and it's on the correct time and everything. So I'm not going to bring up any personal information on this, but it's up here and working. So the install wasn't that terribly difficult. It was actually pretty easy. So now we got to look at the actual unit itself. The unit, my phone connected to the unit every single time without difficulty. As soon as I turned it on, it was already connecting to CarPlay. It would connect within 30 seconds. And it's been very consistent with that. Screen brightness. Underneath the direct sunlight, while the screen isn't like pure bright, it's not so dim I'm squinting. It's bright enough for me to see what I need to see and to be able to give me guidance. So I was able to look at it, see where I was going without a whole lot of difficulty. This unit is at what's called 1,000 nit brightness, whatever that means. And I've found CarPlay units that were 800. Let me put it this way. Look at the nit of the CarPlay you want and definitely go 1,000 or more. I would not go below 1,000. It would probably be too dark in direct sunlight. One of the comments about the unit was at night, it can be overly bright, but the unit actually has a dimming feature. If you turn it on, it will detect the sunlight in the area. And if it's dimmer outside, such as night riding, it will dim the screen. So that feature does work, and it was working just fine. So the people on Amazon that complained about it being too bright at night probably just had that feature turned off. Probably didn't even know it was available. Now, there is a section on it where it actually just gives you data. Now, the left side of the screen, it gives you directional compass navigation. That compass does not follow your direction. It's just the needle. The next thing is the time. I don't care how you turn this thing on or turn this thing off, or how many times you touch that time. It automatically defaults to military time. You can just touch the time and it will turn it to regular time reading, but it's definitely under military time, and it will automatically default to that every single time you turn it on. The other part is a tire pressure monitoring system. But the part that I was most not happy with is that the temperature of the tires is only calculated in Celsius. So for those of us in the States that depend on Fahrenheit, Celsius doesn't matter much to us. And there was no way to change it to Fahrenheit. So I did email the company asking about that. They said it doesn't change, but they actually said they would send the recommendation to their tech support team to create a firmware update so that you can change it to Fahrenheit. I do not know if it's going to happen. I have not checked to see if there's a recent update, but if it's great, if it allows you to change from Celsius to Fahrenheit, that's the way I want to go. It also tells you altitude. So, and I found the altitude indicator to be pretty accurate. When I'm at 8,000 feet, it's pretty much reading 8,000 feet. So that's pretty cool that the altitude is pretty accurate. A feature that's on this unit, and it's kind of a gimmicky feature. I say gimmicky because the fact that this unit, this feature doesn't work that well, and that's the lean angle. It's supposed to tell you how far you're leaning over in turn. When you go to the turns and there's G-force applied, and you could be turned over quite a bit, it will read like 5 or 6 or 7 degrees. And it's obviously not correct. It works when you're sitting still or you're going very, very slow. But if you're going fast, you're not going to be able to do it. I would not buy this unit over that feature. Now, the coolest feature of this is the boot screen can be changed. There are directions online that tells you how you can change that boot screen so it doesn't just pop up and say CarPlay Ride. It actually comes up and says whatever you want or whatever logo you want. Well, I put my logo on it. That's pretty cool. And let me make this clear. Even though I'm telling you that this is a CarPlay unit replacing a Garmin, is it better than a Garmin? No. I'm not going to sit here and ever say that it's better than a Garmin because it isn't. But is it a budget way to get around it? Yeah. Who is this for? Well, if you're someone that's traveling a lot and doing a lot of trails and dirt trails, I probably would not do this unit. This is more for the casual rider, or you're in an area where you're not going to lose cell site, so you can actually use stuff like Google Maps. This unit is more for the budget navigation. You don't want to use your phone. You may or may not be out of data or digital site very long. Yeah, if you're doing a lot of traveling and you're doing a lot of real rural areas, I probably would just save up and get a Garmin, in truth and honesty. In the end, did it do what I bought it for? Yeah. Has it been reliable up until this point? Yeah. But would I recommend it? Yeah. I think it's a good unit. I think it works just fine. Thank you for watching the video. There will be a second video coming up. Like I said, I want to test several different offline maps first before I create that video, so I can give you very accurate information, pros and cons of each app, and let's find an app that can actually replace Garmin navigation for every now and then rides. But other than that, ride safe as always, and I'll catch you in the next video.